A lot to keep track of right now. And yes, for Sens fans, I do have a new magnet. That I made that this morning. I make my own magnets. So every now and then people are like, where does he get those? I make them. So I ordered a bunch of old Senators decals, as we call them in this neck of the woods, not decals. And so you just throw them on cardboard, and you put the cardboard on a magnet sheet, and next thing you know, you got yourself a magnet. There you go. It's really high tech. Really high tech. Make sure you've got a spotter because you don't want to hurt yourself while you're doing it. Taylor Hall. So the Arizona Coyotes announced what we know, which is he's not going back to the Coyotes, which, is okay. But apparently Columbus is very interested in Taylor Hall. One thing that's interesting and has been talked about a lot recently, and by which I mean the last 48 hours, because that's how quickly things can happen, right, is that Taylor Hall may very well sign a 1-year, $5 million, $6 million a year contract because he wants to win. So that's where Colorado's name comes up. And if that's the kind of cap hit it is, then it makes a lot of sense for Colorado to be in on him, for Joe Sakic to circle back. Because, again, if he's willing to take less money, and if it's a short-term contract, then you don't have to worry about McKinnon, you don't have to worry about Makar, you don't have to worry about, re-signing those guys and Hall taking their money. Taylor Hall's going to definitely have a lot of interest around him. He wants to win, and he wants to prove that he can be part of a winner. And so, yeah, Columbus could very well emerge as the place for him to go. But again, everybody's going to be in on his services. Mikko Koivu is letting teams know that he wants to keep playing. So Minnesota's not bringing him back. There will be a home for Mikko Koivu in the NHL. I'll be very surprised if somebody doesn't give him a contract. I'd be kind of surprised if Montreal doesn't come in and say, hey, so your brother came over and played with us for a while. I'd be surprised if Anaheim didn't make a similar offer. Because, again, he's not going to make a ton of money. He's a good veteran. He can play a fourth-line role. Somebody's going to go out there and get him. Interestingly enough, there is an idea that maybe both Alberta teams are looking at Jacob Markstrom. I'm going to say this too. Wherever Markstrom goes, I will not root against him. So if he goes to the Oilers, it's not like I'll watch an Oilers game and go, well, sorry, you're not in my team anymore, so I'm going to root against you. As long as he's not up against teams like, the ones I cheer for, then yeah, I want to see Markstrom succeed. I know this isn't just a fluke run that he had this year. I know he can be a great goaltender in big games, and I wish him nothing but the best. So it makes sense that Calgary and Edmonton, two teams that have definitely seen a lot of Markstrom over the last few years, would be at the front of the line for his services. They both need, that starting goaltender as well. I do wonder if the Oilers signed him, does that then mean that Koskinen's contract, which is $4.5 million for a couple more years, does that mean that Koskinen's contract becomes a little bit expensive for their liking and maybe they try to move Koskinen, or do you just spend maybe over $10 million on goaltenders? Because it's probably going to take $6 million to sign Markstrom. So that would put the goaltending for Edmonton over $10 million between the two goaltenders. But again, we'll see. Now, yesterday when I did the video on the UFAs because they didn't get qualified as restricted free agents, of course there are some that we're going to start seeing trickling out where reporters are like, hey, this guy didn't get qualified. So Anthony Duclair was not qualified by Ottawa. And it's interesting because remember, at the deadline, Ottawa could have moved him, probably got some decent assets back, and they said, no, we're going to try to re-sign him. And now they didn't even qualify him. So it's one of those things that Ottawa does where you want to, and I say this as somebody who's rooted for Ottawa in the past and the present at times, it's one of those things you look at and you think, so they shot themselves in the foot on this one? They should have got something for him at the deadline. They should have sat down with him and said, all right, how much are you going to be looking at? All right, that's in our ballpark. Or how much are you going to be looking at? That's not in our ballpark, and trade his rights to somebody else. Because he was a 20-goal scorer. Somebody would have thrown you a third-round pick, maybe a fourth-round pick. Whatever it was, it would have been more than losing him now for no return. So Duclair, I think, is going to be one of those under-the-radar signings tomorrow. So will Wallmark, who was not qualified by the Florida Panthers. So, of course, they acquired him from Carolina. They're not going to qualify him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to Carolina, but we'll see. Vinny Hinostroza also was not qualified. And I saw that like 10 minutes after I posted that video yesterday, and I thought, well, I'm not going to make a video just on Vinny Hinostroza not being qualified. I like Vinny a lot. I think Vinny's a good player, and I think he's going to be a good under-the-radar signing. I am, of course, quietly hoping that Boston, Dallas, or Vancouver steps up and signs Vinny. That would make me very happy to see him on one of the three big teams for me. And of course, with Arizona talk as well, Taylor Hall, and I'm wearing an Arizona jersey because they're on all the news right now. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's deadline is 9 a.m. tomorrow. 9 a.m. tomorrow when free agency starts and things get crazy again in the National Hockey League. So, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, if he's going to get moved, it's going to happen today. If he's still a member of the Coyotes at the time that we all go to bed tonight, he will likely be a member of the Coyotes next season. I don't think he really wants to get traded. I don't. I think that's why when you see a guy who's waving and he goes, yeah, I'll wave for these two teams, it's likely that he's okay with being traded to those two teams, but because he's not willing to expand it, it likely means he's quite happy in Arizona and he doesn't want to move. So, Ekman-Larsson, we'll see what happens with him today and whether or not I'm doing a video today on Ekman-Larsson being traded or not. Caggiula is a UFA. I'm kind of surprised that Drake Caggiula is going to be a UFA, and I think there are a lot of fans right now of the Oilers saying we would like to have him back. I remember during the play-in round, Oiler fans, despite Caggiula being a little bit, and he has that edge. He does. He has that sandpaper to his game. Fans will watch him and say, we wish he was in our lineup. And Caggiula is one as well, that as a bottom six forward, I'd welcome him on any team that I cheer for. And I think this is just one of those cap crunch situations. There are a lot of guys who are going to be unrestricted free agents tomorrow. It's going to get crazy, and they're going to be unrestricted free agents because of the flat cap, because things have slowed down, because of the economy and the situation that we're in. There's going to be just no money. Corey Schneider, placed on waivers by the New Jersey Devils. They're going to buy him out. And, it's interesting because Schneider, I thought, had a half-decent second half of the season for New Jersey. I do think he'll find a job in the NHL where somebody's willing to give him a shot at a backup position. He's not a starter anymore. And, of course, the interesting thing to me is, before Canuck fans say it, yes, I think if the Canucks lost Markstrom with the cap crunch that they're experiencing, if they offered Schneider a value contract and said, we'll give this a shot, and Corey Schneider returned to Vancouver, I think there would be a lot of fear of a Demko-Schneider tandem, and I would totally understand that. And you'd need to have some kind of a backup option. But I don't know, seeing Corey Schneider in a Canucks jersey would just kind of fill me with a little bit of joy. And so I would be okay with that. We'll see what Jim Benning does, but it is an interesting name that's out there, and I do think Schneider will draw some interest because he could very well bounce back. It was just a nightmare the last few years. A lot of it injury-related, some of it confidence-related, and we'll see how Schneider does if he moves on and does get another chance with another NHL team. Dominic Cahoon. Now, I know there are some Sabres fans, I saw them in the comment section, that were not happy that Buffalo didn't qualify him. So he's going to unrestricted free agency tomorrow. But he is still talking to the Buffalo Sabres. So there's still a chance that Cahoon, at the end of tomorrow, could end up being a Buffalo Sabre once again. So they haven't given up on keeping him. They just didn't want to give him the qualifying offer. And what that means is that they're negotiating for less money than he would have made if they had qualified him. So we'll see what happens. And we'll see where all these players end up tomorrow. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, as always. And yes, I will be discussing yesterday's draft and going over some points of interest in that as well. Because I did the video on round 2. I did the video on round 3 real quick with my phone. I will discuss rounds 4 through 7 in a far more general sense and not using my phone for it. So look for that coming up soon. But let me know your thoughts regarding Taylor Hall. Where's he going to go? And don't come back and edit your comment tomorrow and go, see, I called it, because we can see if it was edited. So if we see edited, we know that you're not telling us the truth. Let us know where you think Taylor Hall goes. And who's going to be the under-the-radar signing that could end up making a huge difference for a team next season? Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, which has been quite popular. The channel passed 165,000 subscribers last night, and it is just a climbing from there. Thank you guys so much for all your support, for helping this channel get to the trending tab in Canada on YouTube. So last Yvonne looked, it was 13th on the trending tab. So that's impressive, and I promise you guys are going to get plenty of content from me over the next few days, and we're going to see where all these guys go. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I will talk to you again soon.